all right.
Yo,
Alive for a new show. I'm your host Cril.
and I,
I got my brother
it's the big A-Level, the Wiz. You know what it is.
A-Level in the place to be. So we got a special show tonight. We got a few other brothers coming in that's going to be joining us in a little bit. This is a very special show because we giving it up today for one of the illest, greatest, best MCs to ever touch the mic. And I'm really excited about this, man. So I'm gonna wait a little bit more for more people to come in, man. I know there are people that's gonna be tuning in tonight. A-Level, how you doing, though, brother?
I'm good, bro. You know, just came in from work not too long ago. It's been
All day.
Yeah, it's been a quite a week, man. A lot of 2021 just starting off with a bang. You know what I'm saying? But with this Doom stuff, man, and you know this Capitol Hill, U.S. Capitol stuff being attacked. It's a lot of stuff happening.
Word up, man. So like I said, man, tonight is gonna be a special night. You know, we lost one of the best that hip hop has ever seen, and I'm just so grateful to have known the brother's music and be such a huge fan. You know, so like I said, we're gonna be giving it up to the great MF Doom tonight. So we're gonna wait for more folks to come in to tune in to this live tonight. The show will be available, afterwards for you to catch later on. But definitely, if you're tuning in right now, hit them like buttons. I actually want to play some video clips of some interviews that I've done with some artists who were connected to Doom. So I want to share that because it's been a journey, man. Doing out the box in general, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
A-Level, man, how you feel about what we about to do tonight, man?
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. It's the super villain. Giving him is his flowers and his roses, unfortunately, now and in this way, but we're just giving them up nonetheless. For those of you in the world, whatever rock you're living under, that don't know of this man and his work and his commitment to what it is that he did. So I'm excited. MF Doom, the super villain.
Indeed. Just for the record, man, and I know I've said it a number of times on the platform, MF Doom was my favorite MC of all time. This is not something that I'm saying, after his transition. I've been saying this, and it really hit in a different way, man. So we're gonna talk about that a little later on. But this is a very special one for me, man. A-Level, I always said, man, if I ever got the chance to interview MF,
I remember.
I didn't have to do Out the Box anymore. That would have been it for me. I didn't need to do it anymore. That was like the pinnacle for me, so it hit in that way. But we're going to talk about that. I want to actually, before the other brothers get in here, I want to go to some video clips just to kind of start the show today so that people can see some of the interviews that I've done with a few artists that we've done, because there's an interview here we did with Master Ace where he spoke about, connecting with MF Doom. So I want to do that as we wait for more people to come into the live. But please come in, please like the video. And I know we don't have a big audience right now, but I mean, hopefully we could get it out there to more people, but and really to the like-minded folks. I want to first also say my sincere condolences to the family of MF Doom, Daniel Doom, and the loved ones and the people that were close to him. Like I was a huge fan, but I cannot imagine what it's like for the people who were close to him to feel this transition. So I want to sincere condolences, man, for real. So we doing this show a little later on, but I didn't want to rush it. So and I feel like we got all year and all the rest of the time, even beyond that, to give this brother tributes, and I know there's gonna be more tributes. So yeah, I'll say that, and we'll go into a clip. Which clip should we go into first, man? I got a clip up with interview that I did with Star. I got the Master Ace one that me and you did, and I even got a Robert Glasper clip where he was talking about interviewing Doom. And I got a clip from John Robinson too. Which one should I show first, A-Level? Which one?
Start out with the John Robb joint.
All right, beautiful. So let's go to shout out to JR, man.
Shout out to Solidify.
You might be tuning in. And this was actually one of the early interviews I did with Doom. So I'm gonna go share my screen real quick, and we're gonna go to a clip of an interview that JR did. Let me just get the time mark right. While we get other people to come in. Shout out to the people in the chat. 1,000 Ways to Fry. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Like the video if you can. And shout out to Sacred Soul Talia Gem. Yes.
Peace to Sacred Soul.
Appreciate that. So we're gonna share our screen. Word. So we're gonna share. I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna go to this JR video, and we'll come right back. So this is a clip from an interview that I did. This is like, 2011, man, with JR.
Wow.
He talks about Doom, meeting Doom for the first time. So we're going to start the show off with this.
Mike Lord Disaster, Metal Fingers crushed Doom. We originally met, I want to say it was 98, 99 via Bobito. And Bobito ran a label called Fondulum, and he was the one who first really released the Doom material under the moniker MF Doom. And we had a few 12 inches on that label too with my group Science of Life. So we were label mates. We never met. And then one day we went to check Bobito at Bobito's Footwork. It used to be down on 9th Street in the Village back in the day. And when we got there, Doom just left. And Bob told us Doom just left. We ran out. We saw Doom jumping in the cab. We stopped him, got to meet him right there and build. But we never really met up again until a year after that. We had our first show in Atlanta. As soon as we got to the sound check, guess who's standing outside the door? Doom. Like, yo, what up, fellas? So we're bugging, like, yo, what are you doing here? He's like, I live out here now. And I guess what solidified the connect even more is a year after that, we wound up making that migration down, and Atlanta was our new home. He definitely shared a lot of gems on the business, a lot of gems on writing, a lot of gems on production, and just approach, just etiquette, simple stuff like don't sample a record until you listen to the whole thing, and don't sample a record until you literally listen to each sound and how it's played and how it's broken down, and then try to flip your interpretation of it in a sense.
The makings of you.
Come on. Yo, I wrote this one about you. The most valuable experience would be stick to your guns. Sometimes when you're in certain positions.
We're going to switch to another video real quick. This is from an interview I actually did earlier this year with Star. So shout out to Star, who's representing out of Atlanta, who, if you know Doom, you got to know Star, right? Star is featured on a
lot of records, a lot of Doom records she's featured
right. So she's you might know her for the Still Dope record. Definitely. That's on Doom's Born Like This album. So I want to share this clip of an interview I did with Star not too long ago. That was in July of this year. So let's go to that.
But I mean, I have to. I mean,
how did you meet Doom again? I'm not sure if you said that earlier.
I did say I met him at MJQ in 2000. Yeah, it might have been early 2001, but I think it was 2000. The Micronauts did. They had a
you did say Micronauts,
or like a show.
All right, let me just bring that back.
There, and he heard.
I'm gonna share that. I'm gonna reshare that. I'm trying to get these monitors right. All right, I'm gonna bring that back. We're gonna reshare this video of an interview did with Star. So here with me.
The one that I picked, it was a Doom beat.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to. I mean,
how did you meet Doom again? Like I'm not sure if you said that earlier.
I did say I met him
you
at
did.
MJQ in like 2000. Yeah, it might have been early 2001, but I think it was 2000. The Micronauts did. They had a
you did say Micronauts. Yeah,
or like a show. He was there and he heard me rhyme, and then how we connected a year later, 2001, after I had signed to Subverse, we did a Subverse music artist panel showcase at Club Kaya out here, also no longer here, Club Kaya on Peachtree, with all the Subverse artists, and he was there. So I performed, and I remember JR came and got me after the show. Like, yo, somebody wants to talk to you. Doom was backstage. Like, yo, you're really dope. I want to work with you. Let me get your contact information. He called me like a week or two later, and I was over there in the studio writing and recording my verse for Next Level. So it went quickly.
I can't remember the article. I swear I was looking for it today. I could not find it, Star.
He was talking about me?
Yeah, he was talking like really highly of you, but I wanted to get the actual quote. Maybe you can help me with that.
He said that these other dudes are all right, but Star, she's just as ill as me. That's the only one I'll give that to. She's like a female version of me.
That's what it was, because I knew it was like something impactful he said about you.
That was pretty epic. I gotta tell you, I was like, wow. What is it about these people from Long Island? First, now Chuck D. Like, what's going on?
Star, you got it. You know,
I thought it was Brooklyn this whole time, but
word, it's Long Island for real.
It's Long Island.
Wow.
For real.
Wow. What would you if you had to think, like what was something like hilarious that you know, a hilarious experience you had from Doom, or something that you learned from him that gave like insight to your success?
Something that he dropped on me that I will always carry with me. He was like, don't ever date your music. Like when you rap, don't ever say the year. Don't ever say the year in the song. And that stuck. He said, don't date your music. Don't ever say the year in any of your rhymes. He also was like, you are a writer. You should be able to write about anything, even if it's something that you don't personally do. If you're a storyteller, you should be able to take on any, because I think it was a song, it was a subject matter, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable writing about it. They said, then you're not a real writer. Like, wow. He's like, you're not. You gotta be able to step outside of yourself. That's why he has all the different personalities.
Yeah.
That was what Angelica was supposed to be. She was my metal face personality. So Angelica was gonna say all the things that Star didn't say. But now Star has evolved into Barbarella, so it's still.
Oh, that's another name. Okay, I know the Barbarella track, but I didn't realize that that's an alter ego now.
Barbarella is, another, that's another level. So, because as I grow as an artist, I shed things, I pick things up, I'm refining myself, and the way I write now is not the same as how I wrote it 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But that was something that he said, just if you gotta create other personalities to say stuff that you need to say, do it. You're a writer. You have artistic license. There's nothing that should be off limits to you to write about.
Right.
He's right. Because some of my favorite MCs are storytelling writers.
Yeah.
Because but people, the thing about hip hop, the thing about rap is that whenever you say, people think that's exactly what it is. Rappers are the only ones who are like not allowed to talk about something from like a third person type of, whatever, from different perspective. Am I using that right?
No, I got you. Yeah.
And it sucks because then there's a thin line, like where you saying that you did something but you didn't do. But if it's another personality, we're very hard on MCs. We're very tough on them. We're very hard on them. I'm not saying that people should front, but I think as a writer, if you want to write a story, you should be able to write a story.
Right.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I agree with that.
I'm a writer first. I'm a writer.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to be. Well, I can't write about this because I never, directly experienced it. I mean, I never been in a war either. But if I wrote a rhyme and I talked about war, that
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we kind of get really like Amelia Bedelia about certain things.
Right. I that makes so much sense, like that piece of insight that he gave you, because it represents what he's known for, so that's dope.
Yeah, he gave me the keys to the cups. I listened every
Nice
time he
pun.
talked.
Wow.
Yeah, I listened. I mean, I probably have one of the longest relationships with him out of any of the people that he has worked with. I mean, because a lot of people, Doom will like leave you alone and then come back. And some people he never comes back to. He kept coming back to me. I mean, there was a gap where I didn't talk to Doom for 7 years. And during that time, that's when I put my own music out, because what else was I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for him?
Right. Yeah, you've always been, even though you don't have a lot of like full-length projects out, like you've always been busy. I feel like
the features.
Yeah, the features have kept you, and you're visible too. Like you make sure that you're out there. Like you're still, people still see you. So I could definitely dig that. Yeah. How's your relationship with him now? I mean, are you still in communication with him?
Who?
Doom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I am. I mean, in a non-traditional way, because really I speak more to his wife than I speak to him.
Okay.
But he's always really been like that. He's a man of few words.
Wow. He's my favorite MC, by the way, of all time.
He is 100% like the character. I mean, he just really is like this genius, this misunderstood genius that he's so freaking smart. Like the last time I saw him, he was making, like orgone pyramids. We were talking about putting the iodine in the shea butter to use for sunblock. Like he's listening to Dr. Jewel Pookrum and Bobby Hemmett, and he's brilliant. You know what I mean? And that's stuff that I'm into too. So aside from being MCs, another connection that Doom and I had was because, he was an Ansar. Him and Sub Rock were Ansars, in the Peach Flush video where they have the white jalabiyas on and they were out there with the books and, Tablika people. I mean, that was them living in the Ansar community. And the fact that they represented in that video like that was powerful. Like, I mean, they had the scrolls. They had scrolls in the video. Now, when I was little and I was watching Peach Fuzz, I didn't know who Dr. York was. I didn't know what an Ansar was, right? So here goes those connections again. But when I started going through my quest, there were people all around me. Like I went to school with like a Mookminoon, that's a child who grew up in the tab.
Right.
I did. His locker was right next to mine. The end of the school year one year, he's like, "Hey, you want these books?" He gave me a bunch of old Ansar scrolls. I didn't even look at the books. I put them in the basement. And when I started studying, I will never forget, I went into the basement and I'm like, holy crap. This dude gave me all of these Ansar scrolls and I had no idea that I had them. But now this is what I'm studying this. Was at a mall one day and a man told me like a blue book of Revelations. He was just telling me like, "Sister, did you know that black people are the first people on the planet?" And he was just breaking it. I was like, word. He told me about the Crystal City and all this. And I was just like, that was like the most amazing thing I had ever heard. And it was in that same time, right around the time I had read the Malcolm X autobiography. So I was open.
Wow.
But I didn't put the pieces together until I started studying in this past. That I had people around me had given me the pieces. So when Doom found out that we went to the last class that Dr. York did before they came and raided the land in Eatonton. Me and Doom and Hassan Chop. And I think Four Eyes went with us.
Is that the same Four Eyes that's on, like Four Eyes from Ultra Beats? Is that the same Four Eyes from Ultra Beats?
Yeah, he's also on.
He's the one, that's on that record. Yeah.
Yeah, he helped me write the chorus.
Shout out to Four Eyes.
I really sucked at courses back then. I've gotten a lot better, but that was also my way of including a friend of mine and somebody who was a talented artist that I wanted to have that level of exposure because I knew that the record was going to be on a Doom album. I knew that.
Wow.
So I wanted to bring somebody with me.
So I'm gonna pause this one right here.
So that was another thing because we connected there. I think he probably loved that even more than the fact that I rhymed, like that I knew about the information.
Right.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting up here like, dang, Monty really is.
That's a while back too when you think about it, right? Yeah.
But just
all right, I'm gonna pause this. So that's just an excerpt from an interview that I did with Star for Out the Box. So if you guys go through the Out the Box TV channel, that interview was done in July of this year. So this is prior to Doom transition. And I mean, it was just a pleasure. This was a dope interview altogether from beginning to end. So big ups to Star, man. Such a dope MC.
Yeah.
Let me just stop sharing my screen for a second. So we're gonna get to some of the other videos, A-Level, but I just want to kind of get the conversation rolling. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in right now. So I know we got J Red and Mark that's supposed to join. So hopefully at some point they will join the stream, but if not, we'll just rock out. But shout out to those brothers anyway. So A-Level, man, let's talk about this, man. Like, we lost MF Doom officially on Halloween Day, October 31st of 2020. The year of the mask, on the day that people wear masks, right? And an artist who himself wore a mask, right? So that's amazing in its own right. When you got the news, man, how did that news unfold to you, man?
It was devastating. It was devastating. For me, almost as bad as it was when I first got the news that Dilla had died. And I already knew how you felt about Doom, so the first person on my mind was like, yo, let me call Cril and see if he's all right, man, because I know what this is doing, But for me, it got even more endearing when I started to listen to his music. Turning on Gazillionaire, turning on Still Dope, I'm what else I'm listening to off that album that I love. I mean, it's slipping my mind right now. But
the Born Like This album, yeah.
Lightworks.
The Dilla beat.
Him on Lightworks. What better person to flow on a track like that? Lightworks is an unorthodox type of beat, y'all. That's not an easy beat to rhyme over.
Not at all.
But who better to flip that rhyme and freak that rhyme, that beat better than the supervillain? And he starts it off, jerks, welcome to the octagon. You know what I'm saying? Who starts off a rhyme like that? And someone other than the supervillain who is all powerful and completely in control of everything, his own destiny, so to speak, literally. And that's all I've been listening to all this week, man. I mean, shout out to Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds, man, on the Juan Ep podcast, Juan EP joints. I listened to both parts, mostly the first part, then the second part, but them listening to Bobito talk about Doom and his humble beginnings. It took me back to the KMD days. And I learned a lot more about him. I didn't even know that, even during that time, he was going before Congress and speaking to Congress people, you know what I'm saying? Taking pictures with Tupac and things of that nature. I mean, he was a dude that was pretty much connected to everybody, even as Zev Love X, that part of him, I noticed there's still a lineage there that really didn't change that much. But what skyrocketed his career exponentially was him reinventing himself after Sub Rock died. I thought that was amazing. What better way to do something, than and reinvent yourself than basically you're dying and being reborn again into this completely different character, And the first thing that you can only think about is, never mind my face, because this right here really takes away and has people looking past what's inside.
Right.
So, for people to just listen to songs like All Caps and Figaro, you can't help but to wonder, like, what does this dude, this super lyricist behind that mask really looks like? There was even the stories where you say, well, I believe Black Milk would say that he met. Was you the one that's telling me this, Cril? Maybe somebody else told me.
Tell me the story again.
Black Milk said that he had met him and he didn't even know that he met him. He said one time when he was I forgot where he went, and he was with some friends, and Doom was in the front seat of the car.
Wow, I didn't
no mask on. No mask on. But he didn't realize that it was Doom until his friends told him after he had already left. So this is how mysterious he lived his life. Down to the very, so how, like you just described, how fitting is that he dies 2 months prior to, us finding out. He dies on October 31st, as you said, with the mask and everything else. And he did it in true Doom fashion. This was a man that was in complete control of his destiny from the moment it began to the end. And we really don't know if it ended. There's people out there that are treating this like this is like Elvis or something like that, or Tupac, Doom lives. You really don't know. And in a sense, he really does. Maybe not physically, but he lives in all of us, and he's everywhere,
Absolutely.
Any of us can put on a mask right now and it'll be Doom. He used to do that at his shows, right?
Yo, let me just do this A-Level. I'm rocking a Doom hoodie right now. I just kind of want to show the people out there. I got this hoodie back in like 07, 08. So I came in full form tonight, and I had to go look into the archives fit. So I just want to stand up a little bit so I can you know what I'm saying? It's the zipper.
That's dope. That's dope, man.
Down there, you see the mask, right? So I'm in full form for Doom the supervillain tonight. But yeah, man, like speaking about that mystery, that was definitely Doom. Like
it was the mystery that was the most attractive thing about him as an artist. Strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mystery. Not being in the camera, being behind the scenes was his selling point.
Absolutely. It's funny you said that because I was listening to the Rosenberg interview. I think he was interviewing his Doom's right-hand man, Big Ben. And he said, Rosenberg said, Doom is one of the few people I never met. No, he said I wasn't in the same room with him. And the brother said to him, you might have been in the same room. Because he even said it in some of his music. Like, I don't know if you remember the song he did with RZA. He has a line where he says, where is he? He might be on the stage. He might be in the audience. Like, or he got a line on, what record is that where he says, do a show, same time, watch it. That's Avalanche.
Right. Avalanche. Yeah.
The joint with Matt.
Love that record.
Do a show.
Love that record.
Watch it. So this brother had it set up in a way where he could literally be in the audience while his hype man is getting ready to get him to come out and watching. You know what I'm saying? He's right next to you. You probably don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the mystique of him that made him so great, But I just want to rewind back just to share my I'm sorry, did you have a thought to finish? I'm sorry.
There's a Most Def clip
Yeah.
I'd like for us to try to find as well too.
Okay.
Not the one where he actually sings all caps, you know what I'm saying, in honor of him. But there's another thing where he's like in the studio and he's speaking about the greatness of Doom that I would love to play, you know, for us to play here on a shared screen if we have the time.
Yeah, I know exactly what clip that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get that up in a little while, so we could get that up. That I think it was an interview that was done by the folks at the good folks at Fro Lab and Doom. I mean, and Yassine was spitting rhymes from Doom's Rap Snitches Kniches.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get that clip up. That's a good clip. So I just wanted, so we're gonna get that up. I wanted to also talk about, like, you know, what happened when I got the news, right? That you know, MF Doom had transitioned. So as the majority of us that got the news, it was on October 31st, New Year's Eve.
December 31st, right? Cool.
I'm sorry, yeah. I'm bugging. December 31st. I'm mixing up the actual transition date from the one that most of us heard about it. So on December 31st, my oldest son comes out to me. I'm in my living room, actually I had did a live mix like about 2 days ago, the end of the year mix that I put up on Mixcloud, and I was doing the track list for it and just adding the track list to it, which I had actual 2 new Doom tracks that I added to the mix, the ones that he did with Flying Lotus, and the other one from the Grand Theft Auto soundtrack. So I was putting the music up, and my oldest son comes out and he's like, "Dad, did you hear the news?" And he's like, "MF Doom died." So I'm like, it's so crazy the response, because I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, nah, that's not real. Like, it's like that was like the immediate response for me. And then there was a part of me that was like, damn, 2020 for real? Like, you know, that realism of that happened in 2020 was like, oh, here go 2020 again.
Right.
And it was the last day of 2020. So I was torn, man. And then when I went on Instagram right after, and the first person I see, I think it's Elza. I saw he made a post saying "Rest in peace to Doom," and as soon as I saw that, it just was like, I knew it was real.
Yeah.
Brother, it didn't take me too long, man. I went straight to the bedroom and was in tears. I may be wrong, but in my fondest memory, I have never cried for any celebrity or any person that had a notable status, right? Or, you know, that was known to a lot of people. I did that with MF Doom. And I just wanted to, you know, just share that, just to say, to talk about how much of an impact he had on me. Doom literally would brighten up my day. Like, when his music would come out, I would get so excited when his music came out. Like, I know you could relate because of Dilla, and I know you were big, you know, really into Doom as well, but I know Dilla was that guy for you, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I now got a chance to feel what you felt like with Dilla, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's terrible, man. It's terrible.
And I mean, just to add on to that, like, I literally would, on any given day, I would be searching the internet to find new Doom songs that I didn't have. Like, I was the fanatic Doom fan, you know, like, I literally, you know, followed everything. I have every song, every album that he put out under MF Doom. And it was like that for me. So I would, like, literally, like, my day, like, I could tell you, I'd be running around the house excited for a new Doom track or even a Doom feature. So Doom would come out with a song would come out and Doom would be featured on it, and it would change my whole day. That's how much I was into him, and as far as what he offered as an artist, and he just gave me a level of excitement. And I have to say, if I've never said it on this platform before, one of the reasons why I even decided to push forward without the box in 2009 was partly because of Doom. I just moved into my new apartment, and before I could, I was sitting, I was moving into the new apartment. It was just me, my fiance didn't move in at this time with me. And it was just me in the apartment, and I got this Mac computer, and I'm sitting on my computer, and I'm like, what could I do that if I didn't get paid for it, I would still do it? And the thing that came to my attention was this idea of being involved with Mad Villain 2. I remember, I think, sending an email to Stone's Throw, letting them know, look, I would do, at the time I was doing a lot of video editing, because, that was the early stages of Out the Box TV. So I was doing a lot of video shows. And I said, man, I would contribute any video editing skills. I would put together a promo for a Mad Villain 2 release. Of course, we've yet to see Mad Villain 2, but that album and the connection to Doom came into mind at that time. And it just gave me a level of excitement. Now, A-Level, I grew up just like you, listening to hip hop. Went to high school, grew up in Brooklyn, went to high school in Manhattan, listening to Boot Camp, Wu-Tang, you know what I'm saying? Nas, Mobb Deep, Queens. Right. That was my thing. I grew up to that, right? But my love for hip hop took a different turn in 2004, 2005, when I got introduced to Doom. And I want to give a big shout out to Squeeze Radio, DJ Susio Smash, who at that time was known as Jer2, and Tim C. They did a show on WKCR, which I know you're familiar with, of course, A-Level, because we went to the show together. That was like the newer version to the Stretch and Bobbito show. And
Family and Kids.
Exactly. And they played Deep Fried Friends one night. And I was blown away. That was it. When I heard that record, I was like, yo, who is this dude? Now, mind you, I was doing college radio years, maybe in 2003, 2004. And I came across the Mad Villain album, and I just, sometimes I would come across music and I'd just be like, you know what, this is interesting. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna check it out. And then I had the album in my crib, and after realizing that was Doom, then I started listening to Mad Villain, and then it just would spiral from there. So, I know I just gave a lot, but Doom was Doom was my Jay-Z and Nas. The way people, if Nas or Jay-Z passed away, the way people are gonna go on for them, that was what Doom was to me. So it was a huge loss for me that I lost my favorite MC of all time, but I celebrate him. I'm not sad. That initial moment I cried, but I'm not sad anymore. I'm just glad. I'm just, I used to feel like, man, I think earlier in the year, A-Level, I was like, damn, I gotta do something. I gotta get back on my grind to try to reach out to somebody that's connected with Doom so I could get this interview. I've said this before, A-Level. I know I'm talking a lot, so I'm a chill. I'm gonna let you speak.
No, it's good.
I've said this before. I've had my 3 favorite MCs is MF Doom, Brownsville Kai, and Elzai. 2 out of those 3 people I've interviewed. And I tried reaching out to Doom years ago. I think I was working on a documentary at the time, but I just didn't get any way. And, time happens, things go on, and I just never picked it up to try again. But you know what? I've never had the opportunity. And I know there's a lot of people that never had the opportunity. But I will say that I recognize the brother's greatness, and I just want to be grateful that I got a chance to know him, and I just want to give him all his recognition, man. You know, as they say, MF Doom forever, man. Big ups to MF Doom, man, the greatest MC of all time in my eyes. Shout out to John Robinson in the chat, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for you know, and Doom. It was because of Doom that I got involved in you, and I started to really appreciate what you had to offer. As such a talented artist, man, one of the best that we have, man. That's doing it lyrically, man. So I thank you, brother. Go ahead, A-Level. I just wanted to say that just so people know, like, Out the Box, there's a special part of MF Doom that's connected to Out the Box, in terms of how, you know, I was inspired to even do Out the Box. So go ahead.
The super flow with more jokes than Bazooka Joe, a mix between Super Fly Snooker and a Super Hole.
That's that Danger Doom joint, right?
El Chupanubre.
El Chupanubre. Yep.
Who says that? Digest the group and sold the poop on eBay.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, it's only one dude that can always just get that rhymes like that. You don't get that anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
And you know, he around, I would say for me, like between like somewhere after 95, 96, man, my enchantment with hip hop was kind of waning, so to speak. You might as well say that this man is the undisputed king of the underground.
I'll say it.
He founded what we know today as the independent hip hop scene, underground platform. He gave birth to that, you know, with the whole Fondulum Records and everything else, and just taking his destiny in his own hands. You know, coming out of that whole situation where he was signed to a major label deal with KMD, with Elektra. And peace to John Rob. Yo, we enjoying the fact that you're on here, brother. Bless up, man.
Right.
And him saying, you know what? I'm not going to allow a machine to tell me what's good.
Word.
I'm not going to allow a machine, a corporate entity that don't know nothing about this music, don't really care about where it comes from, you know, to dictate to me what my future in this business is going to be like. So I'm going to form my own identity, which is probably the most ingenuous marketing scheme that you could ever, you know, come up with. Honestly, the only reason why I feel like, you know, maybe it didn't reach popular status is because maybe he didn't want that. He could have easily been a pop icon that quick, you know what I'm saying? Because of that alone. And so for him, he
never go pop.
Exactly.
Not bubbles.
Exactly.
That wasn't his thing.
It wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
But like I said, he gave so much hope to the people that felt like they didn't have a voice against the machine, you know, and he went ahead and made the Doomsdays of the world, the MM Foods, the Mad Villainy. And by the time Mad Villainy came out, I mean, when you have not just people in the underground, but every yuppie, you know, white boys, like they all, white people love it. Yeah, they playing it all the time. It's Mad Villainy. You're like, what? How y'all know about that? How y'all get up on that? This is where he was going.
Yeah.
And this is how he reached people. You know, he literally paved way for the Raucuses and all of these, you know, Rusty Jooks and all these labels to come up and do what it is that they're doing right now. But what I loved about him, though, he was still humble. He was still humble. He didn't flaunt that. Everything was about mysticism and being in the background. I don't want to be in the front. I don't want the credit. I don't want the glory. I just want you to know who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the supervillain.
Absolutely. You know, bruh, it's so much that I can say. Like this is a tribute show. I waited to do this tribute show because I saw a lot of people were doing it, and peace out to everyone. You like, and I know there's gonna be so much tributes, but like this ain't even a half, man. Like I'm gonna more than likely do another tribute show, and there's gonna be much more of these to come.
And might I also add to Mad Villainy for me is not just the best hip hop, one of the best hip hop records ever made. It's one of the best albums ever made, period.
Yeah.
It's period.
Absolutely.
From the way that came together, the way it was put together, you know, it's so organic, even with the interludes and the skits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It has the same feeling every time you play it.
Yeah.
Know?
I was just listening to it earlier today, man. You know, it's interesting about Mad Villainy.
Did you know that album came out the same time? Well, it should have been released at the same time as J-Lib, Champion Sound.
I had heard that they were doing it, they were recording it simultaneously, like at the same time. But I think J-Lib came out first, if I'm not mistaken.
It came out first, but they were both submitted to Stone's Throw at the same time.
Interesting. Yeah, Mad Villain. When I first heard Mad Villain, it didn't hit me right away. I'm gonna share this story. Like, I heard Mad Villain and I was like, what is this morbid stuff I'm listening to? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know when Mad Villain hit me? I'm an artist. So I my God-given talent, I've been drawing since I was 6 years old. I was home in Brooklyn drawing at the time, just sketching. And it's crazy because I haven't done that in a while. I need to get back to that. And I just had the music on and it got to me then. So I had to, it felt like it was like I had to be in like a creative space of doing something creative, and it got me. And it wasn't one of those, lyric for lyric got me, the sound got me. And then as time went on, I started to become really, really in tune into lyrics. And then I would go over the music. And I remember going on a school trip with my younger son some years back, and I had the Mad Villain album, and I was on the bus, chaperoning, and I had Mad Villain on. And I was like really paying attention to the lyrics then. And the beautiful thing about his music, all of the projects sound different. And you can go back and get something. You can always, the replay value is like amazing. You're always going back, finding stuff. And I think that was what really excited me about Doom. Like, I think we said this before in a previous show where there's only 3 MCs that I know of that are able to be funny, meaning humorous, with their lyrics, but also clever and witty with their lyrics all together at the same time. And Doom was one of them, Sean Price, and Fonte. Those are the 3 artists, to me, hip-hop artists that stand out, that are able to be hilarious, but also be clever with the lyrics,
right,
simultaneously. And that's a rare thing in hip hop. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it was that I really liked about him. The super villain character, a lot of his music referenced the character. The things and what was also dope about Doom is Doom would use a lot of New York references that you literally, if you grew up in New York, if you grew up in New York in the hood, you would understand. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, just not even in the heavy hood, just like in the ghetto around, like growing up in the 90s, 80s or whatever, like you understood some of his lingo. You like, he got a line on Mike Line where he was like, yeah, I told you, soldier, I told you, like, no duh. You know what I'm saying? Like, who says no duh? You know what I mean? That's the stuff you up. You know what I'm saying? And his music referenced that. Like, I mean, he has so many lines, man, that just was so hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a line where he says on I think it's the song Imposters with MF Grimm, where he says, any naked face that want to battle, bring a neck brace. Now, he says naked face, right?
Right.
You see that it's dealing with the character, right? Because he wears the mask. So he's like, you a naked face. You can't rock with me. Like, you know what I mean? You can't do it with me. You know what I mean? So it was stuff like that. And there's countless other bars and lines that just was like,
she need a mint test.
This. Right.
Don't fess. Some of them just need to eat the whole thing of cress. It made me spit out my food one time when I was listening to this. I was like, you stupid, bro.
So I know we got a few people that's in the chat. Feel free to share some Doom lines that you thought that you really resonated with you.
Yeah. Just give us some lines, throw that in the chat,
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, it's so much to say about, the legacy that he left. Obviously I didn't know him personally, but from what I've heard, like, just the a lot of people that he's looked out for, man, like multiple salute, you know what I'm saying? Like, to him. Did you get a chance to see, you saw Doom live with me, right? Were you?
Yeah, I was there. That was when John Robinson was there.
So this was like, I feel like this was like 2006 or something.
Was it at the Nokia Theater?
It was at the Nokia Theater in Times Square. This was my first time seeing MF Doom perform live. But at that point, I was already like, I was fanatic at that point. I was like, I'm going to see it. And I've been trying to find online if I could find a bill. I wish I would have, like a show bill. I wish I would have kept the ticket or something like that. But I can't find it. So I don't know if anybody out there has, went to that show and has like the show bill or the artwork from the show, like, but I would love to see that, just to remember that. But yes, so that was the first time I seen him perform. And like you said, JR, yo, Kai said a rather
ugly brother that with flows that's gorgeous.
Shout out to Kai. Yeah, man, that's a dope one too. That's a dope line. So yeah, I saw him at that show. That was the first time I saw him live. And fortunately, I think this was before they were talking about that whole Doom pasta thing. So I knew, like, I'm good with my eyes in terms of recognizing people. That was the real Doom on that show. I gotta say, I saw the real Doom.
Right.
But that, yeah, JR, he yeah, shout out to DJ Umo. He says she has a sexy voice, sound like Jazzy Joyce. Yep, that's yeah. Shout out to DJ Umo. Big shout out to you, brother. So I saw him on, that was the first time I saw him live, and John Robinson opened for him. And it, like, what did you think about that show when you saw that show, A-Level?
Yo, it was a dope show, man. Doom obviously came through. I mean, he did his thing. But John Rob, honestly, that was my first time at a little side John Robinson show, man. And the way he got on the stage, I don't know if the lights was out. I don't even remember, but he was just flowing like crazy. And I was just like, yo, he was just spitting.
He was rattling off.
Right.
Rattling off. Like, I just remember that vividly, yo. And I think it was the first time I seen JR perform. So I think he opened the show. And did Little Brother was on that, was supposed to perform, but I don't think they performed. That
I think they did.
they did. Okay,
I think they
I
did.
thought they would.
I think this was when they weren't with Ninth anymore at that point. You know,
Could have been. It could have been.
I don't really remember whether Ninth was on the stage or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could have been. But Big Daddy Kane performed that night too.
Oh yeah.
So it was real ill too. Yo, he was getting
Kane got the greatest show on earth, y'all. You know, it never gets old. It never gets old when he does he still does the still dance with Scoob and Scrap Lover. Go do that, put the foot in the hand, go over your head, do the split and come back up, and still flowing crazy, you know, well into his 40s, 50s. And I'm like, yo, I felt like a 9-year-old kid watching that. You know what I'm saying? So it just brought me back to my what I really love about this music. You know what I'm saying? It just makes you feel young again. You know, like it makes you. It never gets old, no matter how old you get. You know.
That's how Doom's music made me feel, bro. And I know I'm talking about myself, but I know there's a lot of people that feel like that. You know what I mean? Like that were like huge Doom fans. Like his music ushered in this whole new love for hip hop. Like the love that I have for all these artists that a lot of people might not know about. In many ways, that love and that excitement came because I was so excited for what I was hearing from Doom. You know, so yeah, man, when you talk about excitement. So we got a chance to see him perform that night. The set was kind of short. But I was just really excited that I got a chance to see him. And
yeah, let me tell you something, man. You know what happens whenever great ones like Doom or Dilla go, you get a chance to spread the word about these guys because of how they kept their careers. Everything was about the work. It wasn't about the glory and the glamour and the glitz. So you as a fan, it becomes your inherent responsibility to push that legacy out there. Those who don't know, put them on.
Word up.
Put them on to that. That's what I spent the whole week doing. For anybody who didn't know, I was just hit. Bam, avalanche, all caps, Figaro, Mad Villainy 2, Money Folder. Keep throwing it out there because that's how I came to love this music. Every time I had the new, you know, what I got from Stretch and Bobito on a 91 20-minute tape. Yo, I play the new Redman right here, the remix. Putting people on.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, again, the gift and the beauty about Doom is just that he was just such a recluse and so mysterious that he left so much room for you to just share with other people. And I believe maybe that's how he wanted it. But what I wanted to discuss as well too is we know him as a great had this great image and everything with the being a super villain and all and a super lyricist, but he was a super producer too.
Word up. Super producer.
Producing for not only for himself but for other people, y'all.
Word up.
Check that Fish Scale album.
Of course.
There's a lot of gems on that Fish Scale album. It's a lot of special herbs on that album. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
My favorite joint is the one that I believe Capadonna and them was rhyming on. Was it called Bells of
I can't remember the name of that. That's an album that I didn't
help me out, y'all. One of y'all in the chat, help me out with that, man.
I gotta go into the track list. But yo, it looks like we got JR that wants to join the stream. He's about to join the stream. So let's bring brother JR in, man. While you look for that, all right?
Mm-hmm.
JR, what's good, brother? Welcome.
Peace, brothers. Yeah, man. You know, I y'all pulled me in. I tried to just chill in YouTube and listen, and y'all just, yeah, man, the memories. I was
The
like, wow.
timing is good, brother, because we had two brothers that were supposed to join the panel, but they weren't able to join tonight. So I'm glad that you were able to come in, man. How are you, first of all?
Yo, I'm well, man. I'll be real and say it's these scenarios that make it feel better, you know. The love pour out has been, you know, as epic as I would ever expect it to be, you know. And it's what y'all been saying. It's just the beginning. Like Doom's here forever, you know. So that's part of it too. It's like I've decided, almost 10 years ago to change the way I look at transitioning and ascension. You know, I feel like we've been taught wrong about that, you know, and of course the human part of us, we feel feelings, so we're sad and we miss physical presence. But come on, man, when something like this happens for someone as great as Doom, it's like, yo, this is his spiritual ascension into the ancestral plane. Like, this is a real thing. This immortalizes this brother in a way that, you know, we've seen happen before, but not like this in our time, for our generation in this way, you know. And, you know, yo, A-Level Dilla, you know, rest in power to the brother Dilla. That was one of those shifts too, where it was like, oh man, this is one of our heroes right now that, you know, you wanted to be selfish and feel like, I needed more, I needed, you know, more time, blah, blah, blah. But then you start to realize that we don't necessarily have a number. We can't point to a number and say, yo, your contract's for this many years, so this is what you need to do in this amount of time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not like that. But the reality is, let's be real, we saw it happen. Like Dilla's presence, you know, magnified times a trillion. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, yo, that vibration is still popping from then, you know, and I love to see that part of it too. And I do my best to stay in the space of the good memories and the good times and good vibes, man. And I'm listening to y'all stuff. I mean, there's so many dope stories, man. There's so many dope stories.
Yeah, man.
How did you feel, man, when you first got the news? Like how did it hit you? You know?
It was spiritual, man. But like, imagine this. I'm visiting mom. My mom lives in Maryland. So I'm out there hanging, visiting. I go out to the supermarket and chilling. And one of my young homies hit me up and was like, yo, I just saw a tweet that the big homie passed. That's all he said. And I looked at that tweet and I said, I hope this don't mean what I think it means, you know, and went to IG, like Cril said, scrolled up, there was about 7 pictures of Doom in a row. And I knew without even confirming. And then, you know, I confirmed officially with peeps and fam. And it was just like, wow, you know, it was one of those things where, yeah, I definitely didn't know. I'm kind of glad I didn't know. And the fam didn't share it with me early, because I don't know if I could have held that long. You know, that was heavy information, but yeah, it hit me hard. It was very emotional, but it was very spiritual, because he literally said, yo, I heard the big home, you know, that's all he said, just as vague as that. And I knew, you know, and it was like, whoa. But I guess it hit me too, because in my mind and heart, we were definitely going to reconnect, you know, and not just music, just connect, like, you know, and build and connect again in the physical.
What did that do for you? What did he do for you as an artist, as a businessman? Like, how did he impact you? What way did he just change and impact the way you do things as an MC, you know, and in this business?
You know, it's interesting, because we bumped heads on certain things I saw him doing, and him looking at me like, bro, I'm the villain. Are you kidding me? That ain't never happened, you know? But I'll say this, it's like, yeah, with those things, there's certain things I used to hang on and speak about a lot that I learned that I thought were the things. And I'm learning now, those ain't even the things. I'm really starting to unfold. I said this the other day. I got to put this in bars. I'm still unpacking 20-year-old Doom gems, for real. Like, it was just that scientifical, and everything had a method. There was a reason for everything. Literally, every single thing. I mean, things like, you know, you would get a call and did you use this word on a record? Like, yo, did you ever say this word? Not even on the record. Did you ever say this word in a rhyme ever? And he was like, all right, word, I might use that then. All right, cool. And then hang up. And you're like, that's it? Like, you know, but it was that deep. But then one day we had a deeper convo about that. He was talking to me and my brother Four Winds, and he said, yeah, I'm really that crazy with it when it comes to these words. Like, I'm a collector of words. So I feel like if you're using interesting words, you can only kind of use that interesting word one time on your album, or maybe one time in your career type shit. Like, that's how crazy it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, y'all hear the clever and witty references. It's like, you're not going to hear him repeat that because it's like, I did that already. I said that word in that way, and that was it, you know? So I think learning things like that, learning things like, yo, like the reading, you know, people say, yeah, when you read, you become a better writer. No. The reading is the writing, like, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? It's like, That's what he taught me. Like, no. When you read things, and it's not just literally reading words, it's reading the world. Go outside and read, you know what I'm saying? And you take that in and put that back out there in your way and put your touch on it. Be who you are. Straight up, be who you are. Don't be afraid to shine yourself. And that was the funny thing. It's like, y'all mentioned the mask and the image. The mask was straight anti-industry. The mask was straight fuck the image. You know, rock with the rec, the music. Forget what I look like. Forget, you know, stop getting all into the image stuff. Rock with the music, but let's be real, it kind of backfired. You know, I remember hearing him say that in an interview. This is early Doom. This is probably like a couple years before Mad Villain even started to begin recording. Doom. This is Subverse era. Doomsday re-released, and Black Bastards came out for the first time. So this is probably 2001. But yeah, I remember him saying in the interview, yeah, you know, if there's like solid 3,500 to 5,000 people that just rock with me, I'm good, you know? And I'm listening, and I'm like, wow. And at the time, I knew that was a ridiculous number for him. I'm like, you think that, you know? But it was dope to hear that because it let me know that, wow, he was really in a humble space and kind of always has been, you know? Like you said, that is a real thing. Doom didn't really care about being in the spotlight and pop, you know, in that poppy way of being a figure. And the image was not his thing at all. So it was like, you know, even hearing, I never heard this, hearing a story in a Clubhouse session last week. You know, Ben Grimm was saying that Drake's been, you know, trying to holler at Doom for a while. And he's like, But I've heard several other, you know, major top level celebrity MCs, singers, etc., soughting after Doom, and just kind of like, nah, that ain't my thing. Or people wanting to meet him. You know, I won't tell this story because this will come out, but there was someone very prominent that wanted to meet him, and he was like, nah, I'm good. Wow. It's not about business or anything, you know. So it's like, that's what I loved about him too. It was so real. It was like, nah, I'm not doing anything out of my element, and very private. It was that's what the Metal Face mantra, need to know basis. Those who need to know will definitely know. Those who don't need to know will never motherfucking know. Ever. Ever. You know, and that was real.
I want to say to you, brother. Let me just first, because I know I send it to you on in IG, but I want to say it voice to voice, like in front of you, like my sincere condolences to you.
Yes,
Yeah, man.
yes,
Thank you, man.
yes,
Thank you.
yes, man.
Because I
Yeah,
know
you see, y'all got me in tears. Over
Yeah, oh, man.
as much
You making me start crying over here, man.
as much as I'm a big fan, I wasn't as close to him as you. But I will say this to you, brother. I said earlier in the interview that years ago, when I started this journey of Out the Box,
Mhm.
if I ever got an interview with Doom, I wouldn't need to do any more of this stuff. He was the
tell you.
pinnacle of the journalism in hip hop for me, right?
No doubt.
Never got a chance to interview him, but I want to say that people like you and Star and Gennaro Jarrell,
Mhm.
and all of these, and I'm sure a number of other folks that have had interaction with Doom that
No
I
doubt.
didn't get a chance to interview, I'm just grateful because you guys are like that fulfillment for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
So
man.
straight up, I'm gonna say that. Like that's the fulfillment. Like, cause like you said earlier, like it's understanding transition in a new way, right?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
sad when I heard the news. I cried. Like I said, I never cried for anyone else. And
Mhm.
but it didn't last long. You know what I mean? And then maybe it was because I was so invested in Doom
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
all these years. Like I was always connected. Like if you go back to some of my posts just from this year alone, people are asking me who's my favorite MCs, and I'm listing it. You know what I'm
No
saying?
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. But I wanted to say that to you. Like I won't ever have the chance to interview him, but the fact that I got a chance to connect with you and people like Star and be able to hear, that means everything to me, and that's the closest.
Yeah,
I
man.
can say that's
Nah,
the
it's
yeah.
this one taught me again because this is like it's like two in a row of two. I would say three in a row, but two in a row really of just close peeps in music, but in life too. Like just connections and things that help grow you as a person. And I got to say, rest in power to Inspector Willoughby, Science of Life. A lot of people don't know Willoughby met Zev Love X. Shoot, probably 10 years before Science of Life got to meet him. Not literally, but many years before we met Doom together as a group. They met through the Ansar community. And, when we finally did get to link officially was all living in Atlanta in 2000. And it was such a magical link because it was, when I remember it, it was like music was the easy part. Music was but it was the building sessions. It was the spiritual part. It was the information and being aware and in tune that I noticed that Doom inspired that for me too, directly and indirectly, seeing how he didn't necessarily have to rock that on his sleeve anymore. He didn't have to move with the flag of what he's dealing with. It's like, nah, that's for me and tucked away, and I deal with it. And the world gets to see this other part. And there's sprinkles of that in there, but nah, you don't get the whole spiritual self just unfolded anymore. And in my Science of Life journey, transitioning to John Robinson, that had a lot to do with Doom. Using my given name, calling Doom, this is Call ID era. My name would pop up, John Robinson. One day we riding out, and he's like, yo, your name's John Robinson. You don't even look like a John Robinson. That's crazy. Like all these years, I never knew. And then he said, yo, the crazy thing is I found some samples about a guy named John Robinson. I'm going to play you. And, it was a mixture of that and working together on that tip, but then also doing more business on an exec level, helping run Shaman Work recordings and being more front facing and needing to use my given name and, full name through conversations, etc. So yeah, it's so many gems, man, so many gems. But a lot of those gems I'm noticing too were very indirect. It was by example. It was like, yo, watch what I do. Watch how I rock this, and I'm gonna make sure y'all around to see it. Like everyone wasn't around. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing too. It's like when you realize you're working with a genius who didn't allow everyone in the lab. You know what I'm saying? Like to be in the lab was a privileged space. And you felt empowered by that. So that's the indirect empowerment. It's like, just being around and just seeing the methods and getting shared gems regularly. Yeah, you had to grow. It was impossible not to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. When was the last time you had a talk with Doom that you could recall?
Shoot, like
not even a talk, just maybe even a message or some type of communication.
I feel like, maybe 7 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Like I feel like once he was no longer living in the US, it was really difficult to be in touch.
Yeah.
But when I think about the eras, it's like, everyone there was these pockets in time, almost like it was presented or done that way. It unfolded in this time where he just had time for all of the people and folks that he was either working with, connecting with, building with, meeting. Because it's funny, there was some people that he just would dig their energy and meet, and they would be a part of it somehow, but they weren't. It was sometimes it would be very random, where it's like, yo, I don't care that they're not this expert in this. The fact that they're here and I dig their energy, like, yeah, they're a part of it. And he thought in that way too. And I ain't gonna front. Sometimes it would be like a random homeboy or homegirl chilling with me, and I'm like, nah, dude, they ain't really. He's like, nah, what do you mean? Like, I'm choosing them. Like, don't tell. Nah, they're in it. Like, yo, they're here. It's like, all right, cool. So I love that as well, man. It was always, surprises, because you would expect something else, and it was like, nah, bro, that's not how I feel about it. That's not what I'm thinking. And it allowed you to.
Is next for Doom's legacy? I mean, I know that it might be a little hard to think about what comes next because we're all kind of processing it.
But,
because I just feel like it's just gonna get bigger, for his legacy, as it always does when people transition.
Yeah.
But for me, it's almost like I'm actually excited to see what unfolds. Yeah, I mean, that's just my thoughts. But I mean, if you had to think about what do you think comes next for his legacy?
I think the immediate next already started happening. Like, we're seeing it. Doom is literally everywhere. I feel like by time 10/31/21 hits, we're gonna see like Doom apartment buildings completely painted out. Like, for real. Like, I feel like that's what's next. It's just the influence, the legacy just spreading itself. The stories, you're going to see different, clips and videos and things that weren't out before, pop-up performances. But I think more so just the stories of, especially those of us who got to work with them and connect and, were part of the different chapters will continue. But I'm just looking forward to having my own time to just reflect on things. It's like, I thought about it. Here's a real story. One of y'all said, yo, the mask is Doom. Like, you don't know how real that was to him. I remember going to pick up Doom for a photo shoot, and he hands me a bag, and I look in the bag, and the mask is in the bag. And I'm like, yo, what's this? He's like, that's Doom. I was like, yo, what do you mean? He's like, that's yo, whoever got the mask technically is Doom. Like, yo, take the mask, do the photo shoot and whatever, and bring it back. And I'm just like, but that was a very real part of it. But when he said that then, it meant what it meant. But I think about now what it means. And it's just like, wow, like, you're right. Like this thing never ends. This is just the beginning, technically. And that's the part that I'm excited about, because he planned all of this. This is a real thing. Like you said, like, come on, like 1031, the world knows 1231. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told you the mantras need to know basis. Like, that
exactly
was it.
2
Like,
months
that was
later.
literally it. So it was like, need to know basis. I control my destiny legitimately, you know, like straight up, like no other. And, you know, that's another powerful part of it all. You know, it was just when you thought, you know, I ain't gonna front, there were times I would question the imposter shows and, yo, why would you? It's like, are you kidding? I'm the villain. You know, I plot shows like robberies, In and Out, 1, 2, 3, nobody's plea. And, you know, it's just like, shut up, Jay. You know, because it's like, yo, yeah, this is some villain shit. I'll say this too. One more thing, because y'all were there and y'all might not know this. The Nokia Theater, that was like the most villain capered show. Yo, you have no clue what went on behind the scenes. I'll say this. Everyone that was on that bill, including guests, etc., I don't care how high of a status of respect of celeb you were in the culture, pioneer rooted, the villains coming to the building, I need this backstage clear. Period. I don't get to the show until everyone's out the backstage, out their dressing rooms and all. Y'all know who was at that show. Get out of your dressing rooms, out. The villain's coming before I hit the stage. Call me when this done. Click. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Cleared out.
Yo.
Cleared out. Y'all know, if y'all don't know who's on that show, you know, look, I can't say, but yeah.
No, I'm saying who was on the bill? Who's on the bill? Fresh
on the bill, A-Level. I just said it.
I'm just saying, like, let's go over that again, because we didn't know exactly whether what
I'm just
version
sip
of
my tea while y'all Google. But yes, the villainy, that was full effect. And it was like when I was there in it, I ain't gonna fight. I was horrified. I was like mortified, like, oh my God. But when I think back today, it's like, geez, like who else could do that and just walk away with, you know, no dents in my armor. Like, it's like,
that's crazy.
Villain status. Yeah.
You know what's interesting about that you mentioned that show? Like, we were at that show and we didn't, you know, it's like you could be a how you say, you could be a concert goer or a fan at a show and not have any idea what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was saying earlier that Ben Grimm, he did an interview on the Juan Epstein. Was it the I'm saying Juan Epstein? I'm bugging. You know, Peter Rosenberg show with Sounds. He did an interview there for a tribute show they did with Doom about Doom, and he was saying, Peter Rosenberg was saying, I've never been in the same room with Doom. You know, there's been a lot of people.
I'm sure he was.
And Ben told him, you know, you might have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doom used to be. He would be hyping. You know, the crowd up, and Doom would be in the audience.
Oh yeah. But see, that's the thing. Doom, the ATL times, and then the LA West Coast, like Doom would come out to a spot and be at a spot like as Doom with no mask, and you know, cats wouldn't necessarily know because the peeps around who knew would never be like, oh shit, Doom, yo, Doom, what up? And wig out, we just cool, like, yo, what up, G? You know, just chilling somewhere in the cut, and he's just chilling, like vibing out, whatever, and peeps will never know. And then it'll be like 4 days later, yo, who was that? Was that? Oh man, I should have took a picture. I'm like, no, you shouldn't have taken no picture. Are you crazy? You know, but yeah, he would hang out a lot, or at shows it would be very low key, but yeah, he could be hanging out right before he gets on stage or whatever, or count bases rocking, I'm rocking, and yeah, he's checking out the show, chilling.
Wow.
Yeah,
have man. I'm pretty sure you've been in touch with like some of the other people that like in that camp, like people like Count Bass, like, well, let me ask you, I don't want to assume, have you been in touch with them?
Oh yeah. No,
really
I mean, shoot, man, I've been in touch with Count. It's one of those things where when you're connected to the need to know basis, there's only a handful of people you can even converse with. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
it's like, yeah, but yeah, man, Count's doing well. It was great to talk to him because I haven't spoken to Count really since probably April, you know, so it's been some time, but it was dope, man. We got to build for probably 3 hours, man. And, you know, just reflecting on the times. Like, it's just so many amazing, magical times, but there was a lesson in every one. Like, it's amazing. There was always a lesson, you know?
It would be dope because you guys were like Metal Face fam. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been in talks, but like it would be dope to see like I don't know, like a tribute album or something where y'all who represent the core Metal Face fam like come together.
Yeah.
It's just something I would like to see. I don't know if it would ever transpire, but just being such a Doom fan myself, like I really recognize all of the people that he co-signed, you know what I'm saying, and help to put on, you know, like I recognize that just the same way I recognize, you know, how you say like the boot camp clique or you know the infamous mob or you know like those
No
like
doubt.
you guys
No
represented
doubt.
that his I think Star always says Metal Face fan, so that's why I'm going.
Yeah, and that is a thing, you know. I think. Yeah, I'll say this, man. For me, it's more about. I mean, I'm open to anything, but it's more about. I think just allowing the time for clarity
to just
and you know, I feel the type of scientist Doom is. What's supposed to happen will definitely happen. Exactly how it's supposed to. Like real talk, you know. And I already see things happening and things manifesting that you thought weren't necessarily as big as they were or what you thought they were going to be, you know. And I say that in the sense of the music, different conversations, different perspectives, and you know, sometimes not agreeing. That was the thing. None of us were like yes people that we just agreed with everything. If we disagreed, we would say it and, you know, converse about it. But I think there's so much that he shared, you know, and so many things that I'm now unpacking still. I'm just enjoying that time, you know. There's a lot to think about later as it relates to you know, those type of things, music and things like that. But I just want his legacy to get its just due right now.
Absolutely.
You know, as it unfolds. You know, I feel that, there's just so many things that will happen because Doom's Doom. You know, there's things that I'm seeing happening that I didn't even know about that are blowing me away, like you know, Doom is in the blockchain space. A lot of people didn't know that. He has these what are they called? These tokens, these digital tokens or digital artwork, you know, and it allows me to know, like, the villain was always so forward thinking.
He was.
Even if it wasn't him thinking about it, he always had the sensibility to keep people around him who were in these forward thinking spaces. To be in those spaces like that. So him being connected to blockchain and having digital art, and there's only 11 masks that are all unique and blah, blah, blah. Because that's another thing. It sounded crazy to me when I heard about it 6 years ago with, oh man, people are going to be spending hundreds and millions on digital art. And I'm like, come on, man, that's crazy. Really? And I'm seeing it all unfold. So he was on that type of tip, you know, and it was always something that he was connected to, you know, all of these different curated brand sponsorships. They weren't like just, I'm jumping on connecting with a brand. No, I'm connecting with a brand that I actually like and rock,
right.
and co-sign myself, and just all of those things that are now going to continue to unfold, that I'm looking forward to as a fan too. Straight up as a fan, I'm still learning from the Doom rhymes. I'm still, replaying the joints and going back and learning something new each time.
That's dope.
Word up.
If you had one track that you could just live or die by, of Doom, and say, hey, listen, you can never hear any other Doom track again. The only one track that you could take with you is which one? I know that's tough. Yeah, so
it
many.
is tough because it's like, and it's ill. It's like Doom is such an Anita Baker fan. It's like we connected a lot on that too. Like we would gig out on Anita Baker.
Wow.
And
it's amazing that you mentioned that. That's another great point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, we would gig out. Like put it like this. I remember going to Atlanta to link with Doom for some recording. I was living in LA at the time, and he was like, yo, bro, you missed it. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, yo, my wife took me to the park just yesterday. You got here a day late. If I knew, but she surprised me. Yo, Anita Baker was in the park, G. Da-da-da. And when he was like, what was it? It was the Mystery joint. And when he was like, yo, when that came on, he said, yo, I like lost my mind like a little kid, like a fanboy, like for real. And when he was describing that, I was like, yo, I got to see Anita, like for real. And I literally got to see her 2 years ago for the first time live. But yeah, we would gig out on Anita Baker.
Yo, like who rhymes to Anita Baker tracks?
Yo.
And Sade music.
Sade. So to answer your question, it's not the Anita Baker track or any of those, but it's if I had to pick one and I was real to myself, it's Doomsday. Yeah, it's Doomsday. Because it's like it's something about the imperfections in that song that I love. I love the rawness. I love the edge to it, but I love the conversation. To me, was literally, very forward thinking in a sense of like I'm setting it up for. And when I listen to it now, it's like, oh man, it means so much more. But then also, it rode the fence of, yo, I'm introducing you to Doom, but you still hear Zev. You hear Zev, you hear that sentiment of KMD and Zev Love X, but then you also hear this new sentiment and this kind of edgy, I'm kind of mad at the game right now, and I'm coming for the game, straight up.
Wow. Man, JR, thank you so much for sharing tonight, man. Like,
yeah, man.
I humbly really appreciate you taking the time to join the stream, man. Like, it means a lot, brother.
Yeah. And likewise, these are healing moments for myself. I'll say, I was on a stream recently with Star, shout out to Star, and Dante Ross, and J-Rock. And, Dante, come on, he got OG Doom stories from the beginning. So it's like to sit back and hear the chapters before I even met Doom. Wow. In the late 90s, to hear those chapters before that and what led to that, that's amazing and healing. And all of these spaces are healing for me. It allows me to process this in I feel like a more sound way, because it's collective. It's collective energy. It's more than just me, So to hear y'all brothers and your perspective and what connects you to Doom and, just all of that on down to, how you found out, Cril, and just, the fact that your son told you is even important. You know what I'm saying? For real. That's a real thing. Yeah, I told you, my young homie told me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like the OG, like, yo, it was the young homie. Like,
And I'll share with you too, JR, like, my younger brother, he's an adult now, but he remembers because I would play Doom's music a lot back when I was in Brooklyn and we were sharing a room and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was telling me the other day that, because I'm from Crown Heights, And he was telling me the other day that, you know, some kid that's like that's like, you know, a rapper that's like getting like kind of blowing up and stuff, was like, you know, when Doom died, you know, he was like, you know, I guess like rest in peace to Doom. And my brother is telling me, he's like, yo, what? He's like, how he know about Doom? Like, he said, but he was, my younger brother is telling me this. He's like, but you know what I found out? He's like, I noticed like people the same way I learned about Doom because I put him onto it. Some kids got older brothers and older friends that know, that put them on too.
Yeah. Or another young homie in the game that know Doom that put them on. You know, like I think when Earl Sweatshirt and Tyler took that photo with Doom and they were geeking out in that little video. Come on, you know how many heads that put Doom on to, you know, put Doom onto, like on the younger generation immediately, because it was like those who knew, but then I feel like that's a whole generation that gets put on by their young OGs, for lack of a better expression, like Fly Low. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Flying Lotus put them on to all of that. But when there's more, I definitely want to share more, man, because I think there's so many dots that connect. You know, when I say Fly Low, the first thing I think of is me and Stacey Epps opening for the Mad Villain release party in LA. I met Steve Ellison, Fly Low, there before he was Fly Low, in the lobby, trying to meet Doom and Madlib.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, everyone in this building trying to meet Doom and Madlib. It's the Mad Villain release party, bro. He's like, yo. And then we wound up connecting later, you know, and that story connects on to other, but there's so many links to the story. And what I'm most grateful for is moving to LA, but having this anxiety of, oh man, I'm leaving my other new city, Atlanta, that I was in for 4 years, to go to a new city, and I don't really know a lot of folks. And it's like I get there only to realize, oh shit, Doom is here recording Mad Villain. So it was like we got to connect on a whole nother level on the West Coast and kind of get introduced to the city in that way. On down to when I dropped the Soul Uprising album. He headlined the show. He headlined the show.
Wow.
And Dilla was at that show.
Wow.
But they didn't get to meet that night. It's crazy. Doom, you know, in and out the back door, out, you know, after the show's done, gone. And then Ben, but just so many connects. And like you said, it's like, you know, the other day I referenced him as like the Miles Davis of the game or some shit, in terms of like the span of like from Gas Face all the way up to now. But even when I think of how many dots are connected through Doom, like for real, it's like a Doom tree. If you could paint this tree and connect all the different artists and entities and people, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Doom's a connector, without a doubt.
I can see it, man. I can see it, man. And like you said, man, like things are already unfolding.
Yeah.
And like I'm just excited to see it. Like I thought that I never knew how I would take it when he did transition, because I don't know if people think about this, but it did cross my mind at times, you know, just being such a big impact to me as an artist. And I was like, man, what would happen? You know, because, you know, a lot of like you know, we've lost a lot in hip hop.
Yeah,
so
man.
if you're a fan of hip hop, I think you sometimes think like, what happens if this person goes? You know what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah.
It crossed my mind a few times, and I just never knew how I would take it. But I want to say it's in terms of losing him, it's going to be different in how music, like because I know we'll likely get more music from him, obviously.
Yeah.
I have a firm belief that we'll get more music from him. But I don't know how it will feel. But I want to be the guy to say, you know what, I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be happy no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And be excited, because the music will be, you know, me knowing Doom, I can assume there's definitely jams in the archive. Like, you know, I'll say this. I remember a moment Doom laughed and he was like, yo, I messed around and hoarded so much music and put it out back to back, that motherfuckers actually think I'm prolific now. Like, what am I do, Si? You know, we laughing about it. But
Wow.
that's another thing he taught me, where it's like he never caught up to himself. Like there was always things in the stash where it's like, oh, if I want to chill all year, I can just put these joints out because they're done already. Because I already, you know, it's like there's always ideas going.
Wow.
You know, and it's always, I'm not working on just one thing. I work on there's a bunch of things on the stove simmering a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
You know, so my bet is there's definitely more music, and it's not this I got to put together verses type music. It's music that's done and it's slow baked in the stash, and yeah, it'll come out to the world when the fam is ready.
Has anyone spoken to Madlib at all? Or, you know,
I haven't spoke to Madlib. No,
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't easily know. But Madlib, shoot, to get Madlib on the phone, shit. In 2021, that's like, I feel like that's down there, like saying I took a picture with Doom with the mask off. You know, like,
you said it profoundly. 2021. I don't know if I've told this story online, but I was actually in the same room with Madlib one time, really trying to get an interview with him. I mean, I went to great lengths, but didn't get it. You know, I was on the prowl, man, that night. And it was the most humblest experience. Like, he was so cool. Like, like this was at I think it was in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. I forget the venue, but him and Freddie Gibbs were performing that night. This was before. Before maybe what was the first album they put out? Was I forget the name of the first album. Maybe it was around the same time. Was it Pinata?
It was Pinata.
It was Pinata, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I remember like really, really trying to get, as you say, like getting Madlib on the phone. Like what I went through to get to even speak to Madlib was crazy. Like, and Egon allowed me to at least go and introduce myself backstage. And
no doubt.
But yeah, man. Shout out to Madlib too, man. Like I could imagine. Like, I mean, you're talking about Dilla and Doom.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
I'm feeling like he's a major piece.
He's another pillar, one of the great pillars that we have here, you know.
Yeah, and you know what, Krill, good looking for even saying that, because I definitely want to send Madlib some love. And you know what, I'm a try to reach out. Like, I can't front. He's a hard guy to connect with, but maybe he answers this time. You know, like,
when I met him that time, he was just a like I wasn't even like, he was just mad cool. Like, you know, I mean,
super
I know
cool, but like Doom, he hates phones. You know, it's that simple. He hates phones. You see Madlib out in person, connecting, cool all day. But
yeah, man. Wow, man, JR, I thank you so much, man. We gotta definitely connect with you more. You want to just kind of let the people know what you got going on for 2021? I know you released the Level Up album. Well,
no doubt. Yeah, Level Up is out, you know, but there's gonna be more things. Like I said, I'm more reflecting on this. I've been really just going through old music, you know, interviews and just different things, and then enjoying the art, man. Like I've seen at least 60 Doom murals from different parts of the world. But for me, I would say there's a bunch of things happening in 2021 in the intersections of music, tech, and education. If you rock with me, stay in tune. But I'll say too, man, for y'all brothers, man, keep this energy flowing. This is bigger than you may know. Like, these stories need to be told. Like, Krill, I went back and and watched 2 interviews. I watched the interview that we did right off of Lafayette, Out the Box TV, the video joint, and then the one at the Fly Low show. You know what I'm saying?
The Inspire joint. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you know, hearing those stories, it reminded me of just like, wow, man, we need these outlets. We need these stories told from our mouths directly put out there so that, you know, things don't get twisted later, man. And it's real stories that are connected and rooted. So
who
keep
better
this
to tell
energy,
our
man.
stories than us?
Exactly. So keep this energy, man. This is important.
And
this
I
is
gotta
important.
say, I appreciate that, JR. And just to be honest, man, like I felt a little hesitant in even doing this show because I've seen so many tributes and stuff. And even reaching out to you to be like, brother, you know, if you're able to come on, like I wanted to do that in the most humblest way, you know, because but then I thought about this and I was like, man, like I'm being true to myself, like right now. Like I could be very, very modest. If anyone knows me, I could be very like, you know, reserved for mad years. That's why for many years you never saw me on the camera.
No doubt.
TV. I didn't really care about that. It was really all about producing and, you know, doing, you know, editing and A-Level used to always tell me, yo, Cril, you got to get in front of the camera. You know,
no doubt, no doubt.
And I'm starting to do that more. And I just said to myself, man, I know there's so many tributes out there, but when I say Doom really affected me as being my favorite MC of all time, like that was real, you know, and and that is still real. Like I have the memorabilia, you know what I'm saying? Like to be like, yo, I've been, you know, checking for. So like I said, I'm just humbled that you were able to join the stream, but
man.
This is special to me because he really did make that type of connection, man. If you let my wife tell it, if you let my kids tell it, they'll tell you. My young brother tell it.
Bro, the fact that your son told you the news says it all. Like seriously, it says it all. And I think too, you know, these are those honorable times where it's important to be true to yourself. Like think about it. What do we know that anyone in the ancestral plane would ever want, especially in this case? Say my name, share my legacy.
That's right.
Spread the love. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is honorable, definitely. And this comes from a real place and a real space of, you know, really experiencing this. And, you know, wanting to share and connect with people in this way. So I give thanks too, man.
Indeed, brother. And what's even amazing too is my brother A-Level, his son told my son.
Wow. See?
Because I asked him how he found out, and he told him, you know,
man.
This is my brother. This is my brother-in-law right here.
Yeah, man.
You know, this is how we water the seeds for the next generation.
Exactly.
You know, so that they can bear awesome fruit in this, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, man, I acknowledge you, man, for all the stuff you've been doing too, man, and just always kind of still being plugged in with what we're doing, man. We
appreciate you, man.
Go, brother. You said that years ago when we saw you at the Fly Low show when we did the interview with Fly Low. Saw you said it. I think you said it in the interview. You was giving us the props from then. So like you always been kind of like, how you say, a visionary in terms of seeing stuff and giving stuff they're just, you know, giving movements they're just due.
No doubt.
And yeah, so we see the same thing, brother.
I gotta end on this note. I'll share this with y'all. At Nokia Theater that night also, you know who else was there? My wife, 6 years before we met, took pictures the whole nine, had no clue who John Robinson was.
Yo.
She came for Doom.
Wow.
Big Daddy Kane and little brother,
Wow.
So she's there. She had pictures and the whole nine, but had no clue who John Robinson was at the time. Like, who's this guy?
Crazy.
Yeah. So that was dope. So
your wife was a Doom fan?
Big time.
Wow.
Big time. And Dilla. I met my wife at a Dilla party.
That's dope.
Yeah. I met my wife at a Dilla party.
How many years married, man?
Sure, we're 3 years married.
Okay.
But we've been together, almost 10.
Nice.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's a beautiful thing, bro.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Wow, man.
Listen, man.
Thank you again, man. We're definitely gonna be checking to see what else you got going on for the year, man. I know 2021 is still,
man.
but like I said, I think that's a good space, right, to just kind of like reflect too, man. I could definitely
Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Brothers, salute out the box.
Yes,
Always love, man.
Peace, man.
Word up. Peace.
Thank
respect.
you.
Shout out to brother JR, man, for joining us tonight, man.
Word.
That was
That
really
was very dope and
very,
unexpected. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I did reach out to him to see if he would join, so I sent him the link and he did join. So I want to thank that brother, man. Really
Shout out
dope.
to John Robinson for always supporting us, even in our most humblest of stages. You know what I'm saying? When in the earliest of the stages, for him to be able to visualize and see what we saw, you know, in us doing this, and for him to still be here now, giving us flowers for that, man. That's
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So, wow, I don't even know where to go from here, man. It's funny, like,
let's go to Jellyfish, because that's the name of the track.
all right, so I want to be careful with playing music only because I'm nervous that they pull that down, but
No. I mean, I just, you don't have to play it. I remember I was looking for the title of the song.
Like, you know what's so crazy, man? I got a JJ Doom interview that I did. No, not a JJ Doom interview, a Gennaro Jarrell interview where he talks about the JJ Doom album, and the joint is restricted because I think there's music in there, from the UK, so it's not up anymore. And I'm like, what? Like, like that's the only thing. Like, I just, that's why lately I just been, a lot of these shows I try not to put music in. But I mean, I will be doing a tribute show to Doom on Mixcloud though, and I got a lot of rare joints that, I mean, it's not rare in the sense of a real Doom fan, but a lot of songs that I really, really searched to find, that you could find them and they're out there, but I think they're more of his rare joints. So I want to like do a mix. So hopefully maybe before the end of this month or in February. I'm not rushing it because I feel like there'll be time for tributes for Doom throughout the year. But I'm gonna be doing that. But let's go to this Mos Def video you wanted to play though.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could link that up. Shout out to all the people in the chat, all the people listening to or tuning in right now. I just want to thank y'all.
Shout out to Hip Hop Thinks Out the Box.
Yes, the Facebook group. You guys can join that. That is, tell them a little bit about that A-Level, the Facebook group, while I get this YouTube up.
Yeah, the Facebook group is just basically the community of what it is that we do here on Hip Hop Thinks Out the Box podcast, Out the Box TV, the podcast that we run. Basically, a lot of the things that do motivate a lot of our material on the shows really stem and come from what is shared on that group page. Shout out to Julian Stout. Shout out to Kelvin. Congrats on his newborn. You know what I'm saying? Peace to you, Kelvin. Yep.
Yeah, man. I want to shout out a few people that I don't get a chance to, big ups, but and it's just
Kelvin is one of our original core members of.
Shout out to Kelvin, who was he was brother Cal, who was a part of Out the Box Talks some years back. It was 3 of us. Shout out to my brother Jay Swiss, who just put out a new EP as well. And I mean, and brother Jermaine, who used to do like even the Fly Low interview I did, he was there with me. He did a lot of the videography. We had a few brothers that recognized the movement early. So big ups to those brothers, man.
Shout out to Jermaine Milligan, man.
All right, so we're gonna play this Mos Def joint. This is from a Fro Lab interview. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. So most people out there, I think, have seen this. Shout out to 1,000 Ways to Fry. He said the drop in the sorcerers help him get through some dark time. Wow. Yo, that's real, man. Big ups to you, 1000 Place to Fry. Real. That's real. Yo, man. Like I said, man, Doom. I had days where I would be going through a rough day and I hear a new Doom track and it just excites me. It brightens up my day. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that. All right, I'm about to share my screen. I gotta try to get nice with this sharing of the screen thing. You know? But yeah, I'm gonna play this.
That shit was hilarious. I was like, oh my God. This song needs to be out now. Needs to be a hit. Just say like, oh my God. How you gonna sell crack and talk about it? Right. That's the point of selling crack. It's supposed to be a secret. Every week is mystery meat. Seaweed stewed. Food. We need food. He rocks a mask just to cover the raw flesh. A rather ugly brother with flows that's gorgeous. Drop dead joints hit the whips like bird shit. They needed like a hole in their head or a third tit. Her bra smells. His car's read all hell, banned from all bars and kicked out the Carvel. Keep a cooker where the jaw fell and keep a cheap hooker who's off the hook like Marvel. Top leading lady lover, metal coated rod gear. Stop feeding babies color sugar coated large squares. The odd pair of squares and God fears, even when it's rotten, you gotta do the hard years. Or wrote this joint about around New Year's off a couple of shots and a few beers. But who cares? It's about me. It's about the beats, not about the streets and whose food you about to eat. Animals just to kill them cynical, whether it is animal, vegetable, or mineral. It's a miracle how we get so lyrical and proceed to move the crowd like an old Negro circle. I bet $1 million on Doom against Lil Wayne. Rapper, shut up, and while you shutting up, put a shirt on, at least a button up. Yuck. As they rappers are stripping males out of work jerk since they shut down Chippendales.
Oh man.
As they rappers are stripping males out of work jerk since they shut down Chippendales. He said out of work jerk since they shut down Chippendales. They chipping nails, Doom, tipping scales, let alone the orders that is counted off shipping scale, let alone the orders that is counted off shipping sales. This goes out to all my people skipping bail, whipping tails, sipping ale, sit in jail like the doobie till they glow like a ruby. After that, they couldn't find a villain like Scooby. I'm trying to ask why ours be better. Could be the Iron Mask or the Cosby sweater. Yes, you who's glued over the dude on the CD nude. That shit is incredible.
Him and Ghost together.
But Doom is every week is mystery meat. This motherfucker said, friends, as you call them, they call them when you need something. Cheese for the front end, trees for the blunt end, G's for the front end. I learned how to get a peace of mind and get left the hell alone. Turn a deaf ear to the cellular phone. Leave me a message, or better yet, you can see me in real life, just as you can feel me like a steel knife. Then you see the whites of their eyes, right with surprise as they start spitting lies. Friends as associates, boys and girls, bitches, niggas, homies, close but really don't know me. Mom, dad, comrades, sisters, duns and dunnies. Others can only come around when they need some money. Some make you laugh like the Sunday funnies. Fan be around whether you pay the bummy. You could take this advice. You can ignore this advice and take it from me. Be too nice to people, take it from a dummy. So nowadays he ain't so friendly. Actually, he wouldn't even make a worthy enemy. Read the signs, no feeding the baboons. Scenes got your back bleeding from the stab wounds. What? The signs, no feeding the baboons. Seems like they get your back bleeding from the stab wounds. Nowadays he ain't so friendly. Actually, he wouldn't even make a worthy enemy.
That might be a challenge for you.
Who? Somebody with Doom? Actually, it would be fun because he rhymes as weird as I feel. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I swear to God, when I saw that Mad Villain record, I bought it on vinyl. I didn't even have a record player. I bought it on vinyl just to stare at the album. And I stared at it and I just kept going, I understand. I was like, I understand. Because, I was a teenager growing up listening to fucking Love Supreme and Miles and Bitches Brew and, you know what I'm saying? And Mingus and Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. But I was also rhyming. And it was never the closest that anything came to abstract in that way, or just that kind of wild energy, or just that kind of like that raw shit was Daylight. But Daylight is like, they're very neat.
Right.
Them motherfuckers is technicians. They're raw, but them motherfuckers are like 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 5, stop. Pop's gonna rhyme. Something strange is gonna happen. They're very, very. There's some systems, some Steely Dan shit. Their shit is really well thought out. Yo, when that motherfucker said, chipping off the beat, kind of dripping off the meat, grinder, heat, nine, stripping, pimping, so sweet, minor. China was a neat sign of trouble with this. China was a neat sign of trouble with this. Trouble with the skip digits, double dip, bubble lip, subtle lips, midget. Borderline schizo, sort of fine tits though, quarter grind, quarter to 9, let's go. Ever since 10-11, glad he made a brethren. In this last now, 7 alligators, 7 at the gates of heaven, knocking no answer. The most hated God who perpetrated all favors, demonstrated in the perforated rod labors.
With raw
flavors.
Savers.
Still back in the game like Jacqueline Lane. Think you know the name, don't rack your brain. Or cookies. On that shit, cookies is crazy. Supposed to be checking emails. I'm getting messages from ass naked females. They on the internet with their curls out, and they got a better sales pitch than the Girl Scouts. That was like, this guy is fucking incredible.
I gotta stop that. No music. All right. It went to the next track. All right. So let me stop sharing my screen. Am I back? All right. Beautiful. Yo, man. I'm like a geek fan watching that video, man. I'm not really good with remembering a lot of lyrics on the spot, but if you put on certain Doom tracks, I'm going for it. I mean, A-Level, I've been at Doom shows and I've lost my mind. I've only been at 2 Doom shows, but the 2 Doom shows I've been at, and I gotta say the 2 shows I've been at, it was the real Doom. I was at, of course, the Nokia Theater with you, Theater, and then I went to Rock the Bells when they had it in Randall's Island, and I got a chance to see Doom there too. And I was losing my mind in the audience, man. I was like, yo, like that. It's just dope, man. Just like when you get a chance to, I'm still processing how my favorite MC not being here, like what that means. Like, but I think, like I said earlier, man, it's just like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have being able to be connected to his music, man. I think more than I have gratitude. Yeah, man. So, man, I want to shout out to our brothers Mark and brother J Red.
Shout out to Funk Doc and J Red.
I'm sorry y'all couldn't make it tonight, man. But always thank both of y'all for always supporting Out the Box. I got so much more that I want to say, man. I feel
also y'all go out and get that special herbs. For those of you that are not familiar with his, beat making side, the musician side, the brilliance in that area. There's so much brilliance just in that work alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go out there and get that special herbs, man. So many volumes, so many classics.
Yeah. He has such a huge body of work. I gotta say, as a fan for years, I was like, man, I need a new Doom album. So I was always kind of like, man, when are we gonna get something new? But I would be just delighted to get a feature. I think he might have released, don't quote me on the number, but I think there was at least 4 or 5 new songs that Doom was featured on in 2020. I know it was the that you know that actually came out that we heard in 2020. I think it was the man, Will Archer. He did a record with this producer. I think he's from the UK or overseas, named Will Archer. And he also did a song. He was on a song with Bishop Nehru, on Bishop Nehru's album that came out last year in 2020. Then he did a song with a guy named, man, I'm bad with names, trying to remember names. I think his name is something Reggie. And he also did two tracks for the Grand Theft Auto Perico Heist soundtrack, the video game. So I feel like it was like five songs that we heard from Doom as features in 2020, and I was just excited to get that. You know what I mean? But for people that, if you guys want to catch up on Doom's catalog, like if you're just getting into Doom, or maybe you just recently got into him prior to his death, I think I don't know where will you think people should start if they wanted to just get into MFM? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that's now, I've heard people say, things like I never knew him before, but now I'm like so glad that I learned him. Where you think people should start if you had to think like
Start at Doomsday.
Doomsday, okay, Operation Doomsday.
Start at Doomsday. Food.
Yeah, I think Food is a good place to start too. Yeah, either one.
And then going into Mad Villainy. You got to come across Mad Villainy.
Got to come across Mad Villainy, but I think it's acquired taste, so you might want to start with, like you said, Operation Doomsday or Food.
And it's not even as hard of a listen as most people would like to think.
Yeah.
If you're not so much just a super huge lyric head like that, the beats draw you in real quick as well too. Right. Like tracks like Figaro draw you in quick. Accordion draws you in real quick. Remember that?
Shout out to DJ Umo. Yeah. Reggie Snow. You're right. That's his name, Reggie Snow. He did put out a track with Doom in 2020. Yep. So he knows. DJ Umo knows. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm listening.
No, I mean, like I was saying, like that's what's just so dope about it, because the perfect beat meets perfect rhymes, and they're both unorthodox beats. Madlib is an unorthodox type of producer, and Doom is an unorthodox type of rhymer. So it was the perfect marriage, on there. I mean, other tracks on there that stand out. You take your pick. Fancy Clown. Mm-hmm. Fancy Clown is crazy. Strange Ways. I mean.
But you know what I think about Mad Villain? Mm-hmm. I feel like still Mad Villain is ahead of his time. It's 2021, and I still feel like even just with the beats alone, and the soundscape, like I still feel like people, if you're just thinking about what's out there and what's popular in terms of hip hop, they still behind. Like people are still behind. Like I think, I don't know. I think you have to be someone who is seeking, like has an open mind in terms of seeking new types of sounds to vibe to. You're gonna tap into.
And that's where I was at the time when I found Mad Villain. I was at a point in time when my brain and my mind and my ears were just seeking to hear something different,
right,
than what I had been exposed to in the early to mid 90s. I wanted something more, something different. And here comes J-Lib and Mad Villain. I was listening to these albums, all caps, Kai De Niro, you know what I'm saying? That's another great song to start with. Another great song. You want to start with Doom? That's clever. When those are synonymous albums, because I was listening to both of those albums, including the bootleg version, the version before it got officially released on Stone's Throw,
right,
Mad Villainy at the same time, and it was the same kind of vibe that I got. You know what I mean? Like those, I was bumping those albums back to back,
right.
between those two albums. You know, and it's just an amazing experience that I still feel as though like I haven't heard everything that those albums have had to offer.
Right, right, right.
Specifically with Mad Villain as well too. I don't feel like I've peeled away all the layers yet. There's so many layers to that, you know, to that onion.
Yeah.
So
Mad Villain to me is a vibe, and it's also like it really offers a lot lyrically too, and in a very artistic way. Yeah, that's what I would say. In a very artistic way, it offers a lot lyrically from Doom. If I had to go with like my favorite MF Doom record, I gotta say that's hard in terms of albums. But yeah, that's hard. I don't even think I have a favorite. Now that I'm thinking about it. But there's so many, like I said, he had so many, like for instance, like Vaudeville Villain. I hear people talk about that a lot in terms of what it represents, you know, that sound and what he offered on that. And he was really like the Victor Vaughn character there. But King Ghidorah was different too, you know, it had a different vibe to it. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like every album he was never the same.
Born Like This is a good album, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Born Like This is crazy. You don't talk about Born Like This enough. You know?
Yeah. Born Like This, man. I remember from That's That to Microwave Mayo to, you know, he got a few tracks on there, that Dilla.
Gazillionaire.
Billionaire.
Lightworks, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Born Like This, man. Yo, like, to other people in the chat, like, what's your favorite Doom album? I'm curious to know. What's your favorite Doom album? Put it in the chat if you still tuning in. But yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite, man. It'll probably be a combination between like Food, Mad Villain, and probably Born Like This. Although I really like JJ Doom too. JJ Doom had some gems.
Another good point is that Mad Villain really opened up
I think. But go ahead, yeah.
Mad Villain really opened up the pathway and the doorway for all of these freelance, you know, get together producer MC type of projects, right? For both artists. It opened that door. It opened that doorway for Madlib to go on and make records with Freddie Gibbs and so many other people, the JDs and of the world, and Doom did the same thing. It opened up for him to go ahead and do records with Danger Mouse, who ended up doing records with CeeLo, you know, Gnarls Barkley. It inspired the industry to push the envelope to do something different,
Gotcha.
You know, in a real subtle way.
Yeah. How do you feel when you hear people say the term favorite rapper's favorite rapper? And I feel like that was a title that Doom got even before he transitioned. I always saw him in that light because I like a lot of the artists, you know, that, you know, people like Drake and, you know, there's a lot of artists that I've heard that like bigger names that really, really was checking for him like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm saying like when you hear that title, like what does that, when you hear favorite rapper's favorite rapper, like what resonates with you when you hear that?
Favorite rapper's favorite rapper just literally means a term of endearment. I think that's one of the highest honors that you can get.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think so, but favorite rapper's favorite rapper means just that.
Yeah.
You know, your Drake, who is your most one popular rapper on the planet, his favorite rapper was Doom.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot, because that means as though music, and this is why I've never really gotten into the just whole one greatest person of all time discussion, is that
right.
Creativity always inspires creativity.
Yeah.
It's one continuum that just flows throughout.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a piece of it. And so no one can really say that this creativity is just theirs and theirs alone. It was inspired by something else.
Right.
And someone else. Yeah. No matter how it turned out, and no matter how it manifested itself, you know.
That's interesting. Yeah. And I mean, you know, like you said, man, like I don't know if that's Drake's ultimate greatest rapper.
Yeah, I just put that out there, you know.
I'm saying it's like there's so many stories of like people talking about how his music impacted them, man. And I'm sitting and I'm listening to these podcasts and I'm listening to these articles of the connections and the experiences people had with Doom. It's just like really amazing to
look at what we just listened to for about a good 10-15 minutes of Most Def Yasin Bey.
Yeah.
Yasin Bey is, you know, we respect as one of the most respected lyricists in the game. And he's talking about Doom. He looks like a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks like he's getting giddy as like, wow, you know, my hero.
Yeah.
He gives that kind of vibe to him and Talib.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that's the whole point. Favorite rapper.
Yeah. Wow, man. Yeah, man. I mean, Doom laid a mark that it's really hard to, like, for the average person looking in that might not have known. It's kind of hard for them to put their finger on, you know, how he was so impactful, right? I would imagine, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine. But for, like JR said, if you knew, you knew. You know what I mean? And I felt like that. And I'm sure a lot of like Doom fans, like the things that he did, even when the whole Doom pasta thing was happening, I mean, of course, I was grateful that I didn't get a chance to experience a Doom pasta. Doom, I probably would have been upset, but I more than likely I wouldn't have been like outraged or anything. But like even with that, like I kind of understood it. You know, I was like, oh, that's Doom. You know what I mean? Like that's, and when he started talking about that in the interviews and the articles, I think it was a couple articles I read where he was talking about, you know, the mask and, you know, anyone could be the you know, be Doom and stuff. It's actually, and then now read it. Like, did you read the art? There's an article out there about him performing in Toronto and the craziness the promoter had to go through to ensure that he performed and that it was going to be the real Doom. It is a hilarious article. But I know at the time, you know, when the promoter was going through this, like it was a wreck for him. You know what I mean? Like I could only imagine like what he had to go through to ensure that. So, and I think he said he would never, you know, he would never book a show like that. But in hindsight, you know, I think he looked back and he was like, wow, like that was amazing. And just like listening to stories like that, like Doom did it his way, came in his way, and left his way. Like that alone, you gotta salute him for, man. And like I said, man, I would love to see more people recognize him. I think it's gonna happen just naturally because that mystique of him wearing that mask is going to speak volumes.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, there's shows like these and what it is that we're committed to doing is just so important. I'm not content with people just dying and that just be it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to keep sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to stay contained in one environment and that's it. You know what I mean?
Exactly like how, you know, it was done with Dilla. I see that happening with Doom. You know, maybe not in the same exact way, but definitely that respect, that admiration, that continued giving just due. I think that's going to continue to happen, man. Wow.
I think so too, yeah.
We got two of the greatest to do it. That's ancestors now, man. The legendary Jay Dilla and legendary MF Doom, among with so many others, man. Like, so I mean, like I said, I'm just kind of soaking it up on some like, yo, I'm like kind of sitting back, excited to see what comes next. And you know, whether we get a posthumous album, which I want to believe we'll get, or not, I'm gonna just be excited. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna be just as excited. I'm like, yo, what? Like, I'm gonna be like, it ain't going nowhere, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's the excitement ain't going nowhere, man. I'm just grateful that I got a chance to experience this artist in this lifetime. I want to say generations from now, you know, our grandkids won't be able to say that they've experienced that, and then they will have their you know, their Dillas and their Dooms of their time, but you know, they'll be able to learn from what we share, like on platforms like this too. So long live MF Doom.
Yep.
Yes. So on that note, man, I feel like there's more for me to say, but because we've gone past 2 hours, I don't want to string the stream on too long, but I want to thank each and every one of you that did tune in today. The stream will be up for you to check out.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, my brother A-Level. Thank you for being here, man.
No problem.
I would have probably just had to do this thing solo if you wasn't here, but you know, I'm really appreciative. Either way, I appreciate it. You know,
I wasn't gonna miss this for the world, bro. I mean,
and big shout out to you know, like the other brothers, man. I know things have, I hope, you know, all is well, man. I know, you know, they would have been here too. So thank y'all for being, you know, joining on, brother Mark and brother J Rad, for initially wanting to be a part of this, man. Yeah. So I do want to say I'm going to be getting ready to launch season 3 of Out the Box Talks. So I'm looking at next Friday we'll have a new episode, and this year I'm gonna be aiming to do more YouTube interviews. So I want to use this platform more. I could have used it a lot more last year, but I was just really trying to get things situated with it. So you guys will see more Out the Box Talk shows and interviews on YouTube. So look for that taking place. So I want to say next Friday we will officially launch season 3, and I got a lot of artists I want to work with this year. So if you are a artist that put out really good music, you know, like you offer quality, you know what we represent, right? Like, you know what we represent in terms of what we deem as quality hip hop. Like, feel free to send us an email, outtheboxradiorep@gmail.com. Yeah, and so we can check it out, man. I'm always looking for new music to check for and highlight on you know, my social media sites. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. A-Level, any last words you want to say?
Nothing much to say other than just to all the listeners out there, all the internets, everyone who is seeing and hearing this transmission right now. Seek more, study more, learn more, listen more.
Right.
That's it.
Indeed.
Pass it on.
Yep. And I just want to tell people out there, I'm also working on updating the website. So the Out the Box Media website, I'm working on updating that. So hopefully before the end of this week, I'll have that updated, a new website out there. It's gonna be a simple website, you know, but I want to make sure I update it so things are functioning the way it should be on the site. So look out for that. And in the meantime, you guys can follow Out the Box on Instagram at Out the Box Media, on Twitter at Out the Box Media, and on Facebook at Out the Box Radio. We also have a Facebook page called Out the Box TV. And then we have a Facebook group called Hip Hop Thinks Out the Box. So if you want to get involved in that community and talk with some like-minded hip hop heads, feel free to send a request to be a part of the group. Yeah. So yeah, man. Other than that, man, it was a pleasure. Any other things you want to say, A-Level?
That's it, brother.
So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Shout out to DJ Umo, shout out to Kai De Niro, shout out to Bankai Aoshi, shout out to 1,000 Ways to Fry, shout out to brother John Robinson for calling, for tuning in tonight and sharing such amazing stories and just that insight. It was
word up.
Really dope to hear. And shout out to Sacred Soul, Talia Gem. And anyone else that we're viewing, shout out to you too. But till next time, I want everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and keep focused, man. We're gonna do it up for one of the greatest MCs to ever do it, and that is Supervillain MF Doom. Peace. We out of here, man. Y'all have a great night. Wonderful Sunday.